I have a student, man. He came back a while ago and he was like, sir, I have a picture. And then, what kind of picture do you have? So I take my students every year. I took them out to the park and they were sparring. And they were sparring hard. And I said, time. And he kept on going. And he looked at me and says, what's wrong with you? And he was like, he was agitated at the moment. In front of the whole school, man. On the ground, I'm standing like this behind him, and he's doing push-ups on the grass, like bomb.
And there's a picture.
And he has a picture. I said, oh man, I'm sorry, buddy. I traumatized you.
Yeah.
Said, no, sir. I want my kid to train here. I love this place. And that makes my heart smile.
I'm here with Kikin Ucelo of Ucelo Martial Arts in Phoenix, Arizona. You guys are technically in Phoenix, right?
Correct. Exactly.
Awesome, man. Well, I met you through Fabiano. For anybody that's listening, Fabiano Aoki, we were talking a little bit about how you guys met. 'Cause I was like, man, come to think of it, he always talked about you like you were his brother, but like I didn't really know what the relationship was. Now I learned this from jiu-jitsu, from his brother. How long you been out here in Phoenix for?
Man, I've been out in Phoenix for about 21 years now.
21
years, yeah.
That's crazy, man.
No, 23.
23.
Sorry. 23.
And so you have, obviously Ucelo Martial Arts. How did that get started? When did that get started? Was that back 23 years ago?
23 years ago, I was working in California for my grandmaster, for my father's master, karate master, taekwondo master. And I drove out here to visit a friend. Entering Phoenix, maybe we're Verado's at it, super close. My car breaks down, oil goes into the what is it? The
in your engine compartment?
Yeah. It's so bad. I stayed here for a couple of days, and they tell me that it's going to take a week. I call back and I say, hey, I need to stay for a week. And he says, okay, take your time. I go to breakfast with my friend that I came to visit, and we're sitting on a table. He knows he's like a huge car guy at the time. And they offer him a showroom. And they say, hey, man, you want anybody to rent out a showroom for a car dealer? And my friend says, we could put a martial arts school there. Let's do it. I said, I have no money. He says, yeah, you do. You have your car. My car's broken down. How much is it? $3,000. Here's your money. And
no, wait. So you sold your broken car
for $3,000
for your first lease.
For my first lease. It was a $1,500, $1,500 to month. And $1,500 deposit.
Oh shit!
I have no money for advertisement, for mats, for absolutely nothing. We started on the carpet. Everybody had burned feet. Oh my god!
But that was normal back then, right? Was like carpet and concrete, or was it?
I don't know if it was normal, but that's what I had.
Yeah,
that's what I had, and I had a dream since I was 16 to eventually maybe have a martial arts school, and it was coming to life. He let me live in his house for a minute. Then I moved into the school. I lived there for a minute.
Obviously, I was going to say, so you obviously slept on the mats more than once.
No mats on the carpet. On the back.
Yeah, the carpet. Yeah, you didn't have mats yet, man. Like concrete and like that. Was it industrial gray?
Yes. It was actually blue, but yeah. It's that one that no padding. It hurt so much.
Oh, shit, man.
It was so good. It was such a beautiful moment to go back, because in the back room, I would close it up and I had a mattress. I didn't have a phone because back then,
there's no cell phone.
I had a landline that I used, and I had a microwave and a mini fridge, and that's all I had.
How long were you living like that for?
Inside the school for about a month and a half, 2 months.
Okay.
But then I still have only my mattress and a refrigerator in the apartment when I got. So
that's all you need, though. As a year, I can have my martial arts school.
That's it.
So that was your first time out here in Phoenix, and you ended up just kind of
staying here forever.
Now here you are 23 years later. Are you guys, you're not in the same spot, are you? Like, is it the same location?
No.
Okay, I was saying that'd be pretty insane.
No, that it was. So 2 years later, my father opened a school in 1988 in Guatemala. And he called me, he said, son, things are really not good in Guatemala. It's a third world country, It's a beautiful country with beautiful people. But the situation, the economical situation, the violence situation was not going good. And my father said, man, if I'm either going to get killed or kill somebody over here, so I need to get out.
Yeah, not a good place to be.
Not a good place to live, So I said, if you want to come over, the school that I'm operating now has 80 students. If you want to have it, I'll let you. I just had bought a house too here. And I said, just one condition: bring my mom and my brother and my sister. I gave him the school with all students that I have. I just handed the keys, handed everything to him. The house that I had just bought was for all of us to live. I ended up giving it to him also completely free. I mean, he took over the payments, obviously, right? And I moved on. 2 years when he came in 21 years ago, I went and I opened the location that I still am today. So I've been at the same location for 21 years now.
Wow. Your landlord must love you, man.
They've changed landlords. Yeah. They sold the property a couple of times. And it's still there, Man,
I got to ask, like, as a business owner, is that kind of like nerve-wracking when that comes up, when it's like, oh, they're selling the building, you get that certificate and stuff? Or
not really. Because, I mean, obviously they have to respect the lease that I have.
Yeah.
And I've been wanting to move for the last 15 years. Every 2-3 years, then my lease comes up, and they're like, "Okay, I'm gonna move. But I ended up signing another 3 years. So now I'm 2 more years to the place that I'm at. So I don't know. I've been wanting to move only because I need more parking space. The school has grown. I'm very, very lucky.
Yeah, you've been around that long, right? A lot of people don't understand too, when it comes into like a business like that, there's pros and cons to it, right? It's like the pros, you work with some amazing people. Cons are, that's going to be your highest expense too, from like a bit purely business standpoint, right?
100%.
But it's worth it, like 100%. But you have to always make sure you have room for those people to grow, right?
The classes to grow, as you know, the fundamental or the base of my school is a mix between karate and taekwondo, and as popular as it is in the not only in Phoenix but in the world. The parents of today's kids grew up seeing Karate Kid, grew up seeing those kind of movies.
Yes.
So, and maybe they wanted to do karate, and now they're bringing their kids to karate. So as much as I can say as a positive thing for karate being the popularity, it's also a bad thing at the end of the day, Like I feel like there's things that have affected karate itself because of its popularity. So it helps me a lot, 100%, like being there for so long. People do know me. People come back.
It's like a landmark.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People come back, man. Yes. Like 6 months ago, a student came back and said, "Sir, do you remember me?" And I said, "No, man, like you don't." And he said, "I used to train here, when I was 10. I said, "Dude, you're 30 years old now. Come on."
It's been 20 years.
I don't remember that little face. And he signed up his daughter. He signed up himself as well, back up again. Said, "This was the best time of my life when I was here. I want her to live it. I want to relive it." 15, 20 years later, people are coming out back to the school,
That's amazing. The impact that martial arts have on kids, that extrapolates, right? Because if they start at like 6 years old or whatever, and they train with you for 2 years, what is that, like an eighth of their life, right? A quarter of their life?
Jonathan, right now, man, I can comfortably say I have students that been with me for 8-10 years. I have students. My first student, when I opened up the school, he's still there.
Yeah.
He's an instructor of my school. He met his wife at the school. They got married a couple of years back. They're incredible kids, grown up adults now,
Yes.
Graduated from college, everything. She's been training for 20 years now as well. He's going to be 21 years. Her and her brother trained there. I have other people that just turned 20 years, 16, 20, 18 years training in the school.
Wow.
So it's definitely, I've been lucky to have amazing people that come through the doors for sure.
Yes. It's like the long-term ones. So for us, we just passed our first decade, and we have some people that have been with us since like day one. And they're like, as long as I'm still moving, I'm here. It is like, I can relate. It's like, only imagine having, those many people, and then the people that come back. I've had it on a smaller scale. We have a high school that's across the street from us, where I went to high school at. We're actually doing a Muay Thai tournament there next month at the gymnasium, where I needed martial arts. We talked about this a little bit. I needed martial arts so much when I was in high school, right? That's part of the reason we're there. These kids, they end up coming through, and I'll give them my trial pass, talk to them. I can see they're kind of like loners. Hey, man, you should come train. Like, I can tell they need the confidence, right? They don't always start right then. Sometimes they do, but not really. But like 2-3 years later, they come back. Hey, the same thing? You remember me? And it's like, oh, man, you cut your hair. Man, you look good. What's new? They're like, I got a job. I'm ready to train. Okay, let's go. And seeing the benefits that they get out of it, and just that long-term exposure for martial arts too. It's obviously you've had that multiple times over 23 years. What keeps you going? I know obviously you said you've been a black belt. Was it 30 years?
31 years.
31 years.
Yeah. I didn't even celebrate it. It was September 4th is when I got it.
Congratulations. That's not too, that's just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. What keeps me going, man, is my family. There's nothing bigger for me than them. You know, I have a beautiful wife. She's in the reception all the time. My two kids, man, they're freaking monsters, man. Yeah, the older one, he's so athletic, such movement in body, and such a connection to teach, you know. And my younger son, he's another little monster, man. He's not little, he's big, you know, big tough monster. And my daughter, you know, like for me, I have to be there. I have to make sure that I try to give them a good example. I try to make sure that I'm there, because if I'm there, they see it, they come, and now they're the huge part of the school. And I know that, I mean, I enjoy what I do. I enjoy people. I enjoy talking. I enjoy everything. So, man, they're my biggest motivation, you know, at the end of the day. And guess what? I get motivation to do what I love to do, you know, like
obviously. Yeah.
So no, there's nothing that could ever change.
No. And it sounds like you're not stopping anytime soon.
Oh, no.
Man, you look young. You said you're 45?
45.
Yeah.
45.
Martial arts keeps people looking young. People tell me that too. Like, you don't look like you're in your 30s. I'm like, hey, you got to start training, man. Yeah, got to keep it up, stay active. So when you ended up out here in Phoenix, how was that first summer for you? Did you have AC or a swamp cooler in that building?
I'll have to be honest with you, man. I love the summer. It's 12 o'clock and, you know, 115, 16, 17 degrees. And I go and I connect my lawnmower and I start mowing. I go for runs in the middle of the day. My kids go like, you're crazy, because my car's been sitting outside the school for the whole morning. And instead of turning my AC on, I bring all the windows down and I cruise down the side. And they go like, what's wrong with you? They're driving in the car with my wife or their own car now, you know, beside me. They look at me like, oh my God. I only turn on the AC because they're in the car. If not, I wouldn't even need it.
Damn, man.
I love it.
Yeah, I love heat, but that's a different level.
No, I love it.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. AC is great, but like I can do fine with heat. Like I love humidity. Like when it's humid out here, everybody's complaining. I'm like, man, humidity. Oh, I'm like, that's not that bad. It's actually, it feels nice. It feels better to run in. It feels better to train in.
You've been in Thailand, so you feel this good.
Yeah, it's like, hey, man, this feels great. My knees stop aching. Like, hey, my wrist feels good. Like, I can warm up faster. Like those little things. I enjoy that for that personally. But like the car is sitting there all day and rolling out the windows.
I'll send you a video outside the Saturday morning at 2. I drive without that.
Yeah. This is me after morning training.
Yeah. And you know, I have AC. I have a nice car. I have everything. Everything works good. I don't know. I just don't. I don't need it. I really don't need it. I enjoy my life this way.
So you grew up in a very interesting time in martial arts then, because it's really an evolution of martial arts.
100%.
I think, you know, and that's one of those things I've talked about. I have a lot of people in here, you know, I was talking with Fabiano, I was talking with Bob Carmel. It's like they all started from like karate, Wing Chun, and then going through this evolution of other martial arts and stuff like that. And we were talking a little bit before about like karate versus Muay Thai kind of thing, right? But that was a thing. Like this was a thing. Like we saw K1, right? They had like fighters from Thailand go fight against like karate fighters in Japan.
Or Taekwondo fighters.
Yeah, Taekwondo fighters and stuff too. And you saw this whole thing happen. Have you seen Karate Combat?
I have. I like it.
Yeah, I dig it. Did you see they have a new president? I think his nickname is President Awesome or something like that. He's in Florida. This guy is crazy, man. He has like dudes living in his gym that are fighting and everything too in like Miami or something like that. But some of the promotion he's doing for karate I think is really good. You know, and like because we saw Karate Kid come back with Netflix, and I know it's not like I'm sure I saw the face palm for those that are just listening. I don't know if you heard the audible face palm there, but the thing is, kids, like little kids, man, they show up to our place and they're like, hey, they want to do karate. I'm like, we don't have karate, but we have this. Like, but they're wearing the Karate Kid stuff all the time. And I'm like, have you seen the original Karate Kid? And they're like, there's an original. I'm like, yeah. So we actually had a movie night where we watched the original Karate Kid because
awesome.
Kids need to. I'm like, this is the stuff that like we grew up on because they have to understand that how lucky they are to have options now. There wasn't. You know, we were talking about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for you, like when it's like you were training a little bit, but then all of a sudden you have like a master who's coming in, right? And you're able to train with all the time. You grew up watching movies where it's like, man, I want to learn the martial art where I could jump over a 20-foot wall. Like people thought that was real, man. Like that was just
from one tree to another.
Yeah. That stuff was like that. That's the kind of stuff that you guys had to grow up learning. Like, oh, that's like, is this real? Is it not? Like, is there some guy in the forest in China that's teaching this stuff? And it's an evolution of martial arts and knowledge, right? Like seeing this and the people who are, 15, 20 years older than you really had the brunt of it too. But seeing that evolution and seeing the karate combat come in, and they actually they did a karate versus Muay Thai match. Did you see those?
I don't know if I did.
So they had, do you know who Raymond Daniels is?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, they had Raymond Daniels. He fought against my friend Eddie Farrell down in Mexico. Yeah, well, he's from Australia, but he lives in Mexico now. So they did a match, and they allowed clinching and knees. And honestly, man, I was worried for Eddie because Raymond Daniels, man, like his turning back kick, he drops people bad with that. He's, I'm pretty sure he did MMA and stuff too. So he's like not unaccustomed to the whole ground and pound.
I think I saw that one, if I'm not mistaken. I even think I did a little tutorial on it.
Yes, you did.
Scissor sweep.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, he did the scissor sweep on him. That's right. I saw that on your Instagram. And what was interesting about that, it brought back the hype of that original traditional mixed martial arts. Right, yes. We were talking about traditional mixed martial arts, right? Because
I agree 100%, man. Just exactly what you're saying. The evolution of martial arts. I feel karate has gained so much popularity in the world. I mean, and exactly every single school you can talk to grandmasters nowadays, because they were starting, or maybe masters in the 80s, right?
Yes,
they had a line to sign people up at the karate schools after the Karate Kid came out. But yes, that same popularity, I feel, can and maybe did affect the effectiveness to some point of karate itself. With that, I mean, they had to water down stuff. They had to please the public. They had to this, and this. And believe me, Jonathan, I truly feel, man, that karate is way much more than that. Like I was talking to you about Fabiano, and man, he is my brother. I truly feel that when I met that guy, we connected and we think very much alike. Even if he's inside the Muay Thai world, I'm in the karate world. We always think our ideas are very, very similar. My son that's trained, that now goes and trains with him every once in a while over there. He's he tells me, he's like, oh, you guys, he says the same things you do. He says the same things you say. And he says something and turns around, and you better do it, or if not, you're going to get in trouble, And he says, just like you, Dad, just everything. You guys are so much the same. And I love that, because at the end of the day, the principles of martial art can be shared around the table. It doesn't have to be which one is better. No, I feel that each martial art has its moment and has its place, And the popularity of karate, man, it hurt it and it benefited. To this point, I still benefit from the word karate. You know, you say taekwondo, and it's great. But sometimes people say taekwondo with a person that doesn't know anything.
Like, oh, you mean karate?
Or Chinese food? I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with Korean. The beautiful art of taekwondo, the movement that they have. But karate, everybody knows. They even say, people go into a Brazilian jiu-jitsu school and they say, this is a karate place? They don't even know. It's so popular,
So, man, even our place, like we teach Muay Thai, we have kids. I hear the parents on the phone, oh, I'm at like my son's karate practice. I'm like, oh. But it's because it's that ingrained with it, right? And you were talking about like how they had to kind of water some of the stuff down, right? You said maybe to the detriment of the martial art.
I feel so, man. I feel so. So with that being said, we can talk about good and bad practices, right?
Yeah.
Good practices like you're seeing now in karate combat, or like you see in the UFC, like you see GSP, you see Lyoto Machida, you see so many guys that have done traditional karate.
Wonder Boy.
Wonder Boy, 100%. That you come and see them and you see how they adapt their karate to the ultimate scene of fight, you know? I truly feel that there is good and bad, and you know, and the good practice is exactly that. A person who actually, you know, hit the pads, man. You're a karate guy, hit the pad too. Learn the impact, learn this movement. You know what? And not only the impact part of the fight, but the benefit at the end of their day, you know, of their life benefit. If you teach a kid to lower their head, not as a sign of worship, but as a sign of respect, you're winning. You just changed the person's life, you know? And Muay Thai does that when they bow. Karate does that. So at the end of the day, we have so many traditionally in I don't want to say an old school mentality, but yes, old school mentality. We start having those things that are going to benefit, you know?
Oh, 100%. It comes into the authenticity of the martial art, right? Because Muay Thai is actually going through this phase right now where might be some watering down of some things when it comes into how things are taught, how things on a competitive level too. And I always have to remind people, I'm like, yo, Muay Thai came from war, man. Like that was to defend the land. Like you have to remember that at the end of the day, that's what it is. So I know people try to dress it up as something else, but it was meant to kill somebody. And same karate. It's like
it was meant for that. Exactly. Karate used to say that you learn to use your hand as stones and your legs as sticks. So not on an extension, but to be that effective, you know, maybe same Asia, but in different little parts, they had their mentality and they had to live that way. So by all means, that good practice of the art should maintain. Now, I understand that in the business end, you have to compensate, have to do it. But for me, it's still hard, man.
Yeah.
I still grew up in that era when my dad was like, you, Kikin, go outside and do 50 push-ups on the concrete.
Yeah, on your knuckles, go.
On your knuckles. So I can show you videos like every once in a while, like when the weather is good and the asphalt is not that hot, we're in the middle of the class. Like, hey, everybody, outside to the parking lot.
Go.
Let's go push-ups. They're screaming. Let me see your little hands. Oh, okay. Oh, you didn't even do it. You know, I just to mess with them, to give them a little bit of a sense of
taste of it.
Yeah. But back in the day, I still have ADHD, right? So my poor father, my master, hey, be quiet, push-ups, be quiet, get up, get over there and do push-ups. The rest of the class on the concrete and outside, you know. I was that student.
Yeah,
sure. I was that student.
I know those ones. They're the ones that stick to it for a long time, man. When they get focused, they're in it. Yeah, sure. Well, with that kind of like, you know, the authentic training style and methods. So we get with Muay Thai, our general population of students that train, it's like for us in Muay Thai, the only form of competition it's full contact, right? It's like maybe 5% of our students ever compete because of that. When you look at it and for how we teach it too, it's like you have to learn how to give people, like you said, a taste. Right. So we bring our students to Thailand. It's like, hey, come train. Sometimes the people that don't want to compete, they go to Thailand, like, no, I'm in. I want to do this. I'm like, what? You do? Like, no, I get it now. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, and they end up, you know, maybe stepping in and doing that, or they just gives them a completely new respect for it because then they understand what it actually takes and they realize like, I don't want to do that. Right? But like, I appreciate it. I enjoy training it for fun and the recreation purposes too, right? But when it comes into the people that do compete, I say this: you have a general population. If you have a car shop, right? Car shop, you open up a car shop because you love working on cars. It's like that's your passion. You love it, no matter who it is. Hey, you love helping them out. You know, it keeps on with the day, prevents somebody from their car breaking down in Phoenix and being stuck here and making a life-altering decision to open up a martial arts school, or maybe encouraging them to, right? But on the weekends, you work on the hot rod, right? You and the other mechanics work on the hot rod, and you bring it out to the car show that you don't get paid money to do. Like maybe you get a trophy, that for us in Muay Thai and martial arts, I think that like that's the competition side, because it's
and I love it.
Yeah, it's
I love it because right now you're just describing everything I just did on Sunday.
Yeah,
because I worked the whole week. I have a competition team that's competing in the next couple of weeks.
There you go.
Every Sunday when I'm supposed to be sleeping in and relaxing with my family, Sunday mornings at 9, we have competition training, and we go run on the outside. We do sprints, we do everything, and then we go inside and we train, and I do everything with them. I always try to be part of everything. I've always been the person. My father was that way. My father's always led by example, and I try to be the example. And now I see my kids leading by example themselves too. They're part of the competition team. Even if they're not competing, they're part of the training. They're part of trying to.
They're doing something there.
Everything, always being part. And it's exactly that. When you do it for passion, money is a huge thing because we need to pay our bills.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, passion is passion, man, and passion is going to take you for a long way.
And that's like like you said, you're working on the weekends, man. You want to bring the hot rod out, the competition team out to come do their thing, right? Because there's nothing more, I guess, fulfilling than seeing somebody achieve their goals, right? And especially when it comes into competition, you get to see that, and you see them putting in the work, you see the result of it, and the result of the training and what comes out. So when it comes into competition for you guys, what kind of competitions are you guys doing? Is it like forms, or what is it you guys do?
So karate has different types of competitions. Yeah. There's, like I said, popularity came along. So now there's even a sport karate aspect of it. There's still a traditional part. Yeah. There's a sport karate part. I try not to get too involved in that. I really don't like that tap movement. Although, don't get me wrong, it's a fast explosive, and it's like a sniper going for something all the time, and they're super fast on that. But it takes a little bit away from the old school mentality of how it was, or maybe how a fight is really going to be. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking bad about
No, it's just different.
It's different. And some of those guys know how to change that up and go, okay, no, instead of pulling my kick, I let it through, My dad used to say, throw a front kick, but you don't throw just a front kick. You try to touch their spine with your foot, and I would look back and like, Dad, why are you saying this kind of stuff to us, But now I think about it and I say, like, maybe I have to be careful what I say to my students and the kids, but maybe a competition team is, hey man, you're going to throw this kick, throw it, touch your spine.
Yeah.
We need to throw it with that intention. You never will, but you have to have a different mentality. And when it comes to the competition, I truly feel that, man, just like what you were saying with how Muay Thai is growing up, the popularity, or even the people that you guys have, the percentage that you guys have, the mentality of working on your hot rod at the end with the comp team. When you are a traditional school, and I'm not just trying to sell a traditional school, I'm trying to sell traditional martial arts. We all have the same principles, ideas, which are going to thrive through time. All these little schools that come up, or even huge schools that come up, man, but they're business driven, people catch on. Unfortunately, they ruin the business and they ruin the opportunity for traditional martial arts like you and me, because they go in, they try a Muay Thai school that is not good at all. Mm-hmm. They come back and, they're all the same. All the karate schools, they're all the same. We're not all the same, man.
No.
There's some of us still out there that really love what we do. And like you say, we try to give everybody a little taste of it. I have a little ninja, a little tiger, called Little Tiger 4-year-old class. Man, I just tested them a couple of days ago. I can show you these kids standing in their place and with their back straight, bowing, and tell me how that is not good, regardless of the art, and how hard it is to keep a 4-year-old standing in their place and doing what you say for 40 minutes. Man, it is crazy hard. But when you have a system, when you really enjoy it, there's going to be moments where you're going to laugh out. There's going to be moments where you're going to have to put your foot down. There's going to be moments of everything, and that is martial art. I imagine in your position, you see it in a different way. I see it in like the example that I can give you, from my side.
Well, like for us, we do a 4 to 6 year old class. So I 100% understand. 100%. It's like see the kids focus, calling that response kind of stuff, how they respond, look at you and stay focused. We have kids that come in that can't make eye contact, right? I'm sure like COVID, you know, that messed a lot of kids up, man. Like when it came into like being just out of their routine and not being socialized. So we had some kids that came in that were afraid to be around people. They were nervous around people. They couldn't make eye contact and they wouldn't talk to people.
Here in their eyes. So
Yeah.
See.
Oh, and then they would take the mask and like put it up and like, I'm like, why are you wearing a mask? You don't need to, like, you're fine. And they would be like, oh, I want to hide behind it. I'm like, why are you hiding? What are you hiding from? Right? Oh, people. Oh, well, you don't need to hide behind, like, you don't need to hide from me, right? And then next thing you know, you see this kid come out of the shell, make eye contact, and their parents see them, they're like, oh crap, man. Like,
they're going,
yeah, they're breathing, they're kicking, they're hitting the pad, and like, you know, being confident, and you're building the self-discipline and the focus at that age. And this is what I told you. It's like, I needed that. My parents, they did not, now they're like kicking, we should have let you do it. I'm like, it's okay. You didn't know. Right. But having these conversations and sharing it with people and doing what you do to give a chance to educate them on the benefits of it is so big. Like I always try, like anybody that teaches kids, I always give mad respect to, because it's a lot of work. But I use this analogy. It's easier to form a functioning adult than it is to fix a broken one, right? I'm not saying any one of them is wrong, but everybody has their trauma they grow up with, the way that they focus. For me, maybe my focus would have been better had I started younger, right?
And I'll add to your analogy. I'll add something that I had a great experience at one point. I was standing with one of my great friends, Jason. We were standing at a tournament, and we saw this kid, you know, like, we were standing at a tournament. We were not referees. We were owners of schools that were there. So we were standing, and this kid called upon us to say, hey, you two, come over here and help us. He was like a 19, 20-year-old kid, called us, right? We both turned around. And obviously my friend Jason, he got a little bit more upset. He controlled himself, obviously. But we looked around, turned around. And I said, man, Jason, it's okay. You know, this kid doesn't know it. And it's okay, buddy. We're going to go do something, or, you know, we're doing something here, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I've always been he's always been the more hype, and I've been the more, let's take it easy, you know? But at the end of the day, I grew up, and my takeaway from that moment, just adding to your analogy, was when you take a kid to a martial arts school and you let somebody else educate them, you let that kid be coachable. You don't stop and you intervene or give excuses because the kid couldn't kick it. Oh, it's because his leg hurts. Let him figure it out by himself. If he didn't say anything to me, he's probably okay. Yeah. My biggest takeaway that day was, I prefer to correct a kid. Well, let somebody help me correct a kid. It takes a community to raise a child. Let me correct this kid now, and let the martial arts correct this kid, or maybe let the cops or the street correct them later. What you get to
exactly.
choose. So being part of martial arts is so important, man. And yes, like we talked, there's going to be really bad schools that are just digging for nickel and diming and business. Mm-hmm. But there's still people out there, man, that are going to come back and say, hey, buddy, you don't disrespect me this way. Stand straight. You know what? Do 100 push-ups today. Yeah. Because this is what you need today. You need to learn that you are not going to disrespect somebody this way. And you know what? That kid gets up, man. He doesn't hate you. I have a student, man. He came back a while ago, and he was like, sir, I have a picture. I said, what kind of picture do you have? Remember, we're in front of, so I take my students every year, and I bring, it's a huge event, and I put them out in the park, right? Uh-huh. I got kicked out of the park because I took too many people. So now I rent a high school, but I took them out to the park, and they were sparring. And they were sparring hard. And I said, time. And he kept on going. And I said, Alex, get over here. And he looked at me and says, what's wrong with you? And he was like, he was agitated at the moment. In front of the whole school, man. The whole school. Because I bring kids and adults, everybody there. On the ground, and I'm standing like this behind him, and he's doing push-ups on the grass, like bomb.
And there's a picture.
And he has a picture. I said, oh, man, I'm sorry, buddy. I traumatized you. I said, no, sir. I want my kid to train here. I love this place. Yeah. This is the best place ever. And so you feel like maybe a parent can see something being too strong on the kid. And maybe sometimes we even feel like, oh, man, maybe I was too much. But the kid that realizes at the end of the day how good it is, or he keeps on living with it, their life changes. Yep. And that makes, in my position, my heart smile. Yeah. You know?
It fulfills your purpose. Exactly. Right? That's like, I think with a lot of people, and I think I'd say if people have been around for any reasonable amount of time in martial arts and a business, like teaching, their purpose is fulfilled through it, right? So going on to that too with the kids, like if you take away that discipline from them, like if you had somebody that didn't force that, they'd be like, how come you're not making me do push-ups? Like they'll ask, like they want that.
Yeah.
They like that. Like, no, I need this. Like they start craving it.
I have a routine that I do with nunchucks with the little kids, right? Mm-hmm. They're 4-year-old kids.
You do nunchucks with 4?
I do. And they do it so nice. I go, awesome. And they do a huge routine. But if you drop your nunchuck, you're going to be punished. And I tell them, hey, man, back in the day. So I tell these little stories, right? Back in the day, you had these nunchucks to defend your village. And if you lost it, you die. So I'm not going to kill you. But to reset that button and go restart that game, you need to do a push-up. You need 10 push-ups for dropping your nunchuck. So the kids are holding so tight, man. And if somebody drops it, they look at me like if I saw. And I just have to look at them. I just, boom, I look at them. And I point my finger out, and immediately the kids drop and do 10 push-ups, and then get back up and go like nothing. Yeah. So a taste of tradition, a taste of discipline. Hey, man, you don't just drop your stuff. You don't just throw stuff. You don't just, no, if you get something, grab it, do it right, you know? And if they learn it at 4, imagine the amazing community we can build, or the amazing citizens we can build for our community in the future, you know?
Yes.
That's all I want, man. Yeah. I'm not going to be a millionaire, but I promise you that I'm going to make my heart smile so many times because of things like that, you know?
Yeah. I can only imagine. Like I said, I've only had a taste of it, you know, and it's definitely the thing. I talk a lot with our city leaders that we have, like where our academies are, our schools are. And I tell them, like, do you know what we do? Like,
it's sad, right?
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, you teach people to fight." I'm like, "No, it's the opposite." But now that I've been talking to them continually, like it's a smaller town than Phoenix, obviously. Now they understand, they support it like 100%.
It's crazy how the officials and people outside don't give. And I understand there's a huge community that says a word. You use your words, don't fight. I understand that. 100%. I don't tell anybody to fight.
No.
I have a personal way of thinking sometimes. If you say something to me right now that really hurts me, I'll probably take it to my bed. I'll probably remember 5 years from now. But if you slap me hard, man, I know not to, I better forget about you, because the last thing I want is to remember you, because that was super hard. And I'm not saying fight. I'm saying words are super, super, super hurtful as well. And people think that fighting or teaching how to fight or defend themselves is being aggressive. No, when you really train, not when you're those, those bad ones, whatever. When you're really training, man, the last thing you want is to fight in the street. You already took man, I already fought last night, man. The last thing I want to do is fight you right now.
Yeah.
I drive in the car, man. I'm driving with my windows down, and somebody goes, beep, 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 beep. Sorry. I move away. Yeah, I don't care, man. Maybe he has to go to the bathroom. Maybe he has a huge problem. Maybe
girlfriend broke up with him or something. Yeah, they don't know.
You know, the last thing I want is a problem, man. Let me just go my way. Let me get to my school. Let me train again. Yeah. Let me get home to my family, you know?
And that is the voice of reason and experience right there. That is the voice of reason and experience. The misconception behind it is definitely, I think it's being broken more and more, though, because of, honestly, like with martial arts having this big boom again, it's like
the
UFC did great things for martial arts, and there's some things that are bad. We talk about, like, the people lose the authenticity, the respect being a martial artist, right? It's like, yeah, hey, be able to do massive amounts of damage and defend yourself, but also know that you're probably never going to use this, and you'll probably never should, because it's just not fair, man. It's like the last thing you want to do is that, because it's a lose-lose, like, especially a street self-defense situation. It's a lose-lose.
Think about it. I was talking to my son a while ago, talking about situations exactly like that. I say, what happens? You end up going to jail. You end up, hurting somebody, maybe even taking their life away. Imagine you do a sweep, or you do something.
Hits his head. Yeah.
He hits his head, he dies. Now, where are you at now?
Yeah.
You just wanted a highlight video. You just wanted your friends to say something. You have to think there's consequences to every act.
Yeah.
And in the reality, I do think UFC has done a great job. And you said it in the best words, martial artist. Unfortunately, because of the popularity, just like we were saying, it also has created people, fighters. And don't get me wrong, they may kick my butt.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say they don't. But are they real martial artists? Do they have loyalty? Man, those guys switch gyms every once in a while.
Oh, man.
Or they kiss butt so much to the coach that's in front of them just because he's there. But the moment that guy says something, they turn around, they find a better opportunity, they go somewhere else. I feel that a traditional martial artist, and it's not loyal to one instructor.
No.
They're loyal to the art. They're loyal to the principles of the art. Man, I love when I see Muay Thai people come into the gym and they put their hands together and they bow. And I see it and it makes me smile because I say man, yeah, they can be brutal fighters. But at the end of the day, these guys are learning the traditional martial arts. They'll be respectful. They'll kick somebody, they'll punch somebody, and then maybe the person is down and they step back.
Yeah.
A traditional martial artist is going to do that. An MMA guy, you fall down, you have to kill him. You can finish him in a moment.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's wrong.
No.
It's wrong. It's part of that sport.
Yeah.
But it changes the mentality.
And because it's the optics too for some people and what it attracts.
100%.
Because you get people that get into karate, taekwondo, Muay Thai, jiu-jitsu, even MMA for reasons of personal development, right? But then when you have that optics, as martial artists, we understand it, what's going on. But an untrained eye, there's people that have that stigma, that's violent, that's aggressive, and you get to people, I want to do that, right? And that's the only reason why I want to do that. Yes. And they don't care about the martial arts part. They just want to know, how can I be kicking somebody on the ground or hitting them in the face with my hand on their head? That's what they want to do.
And maybe it attracts your mind. It attracts my mind too. When you're doing it, yeah. Because we've been doing this, and it's part of something that we have. But I heard a quote one time. It's, I think it resembles really good what we're talking about. It's being a violent person, but having that violence under voluntary control is what makes you actually really dangerous.
Yeah, Jordan Peterson is the one that is be capable of extreme violence, right? Every man should be capable of it and know how to control it.
And be able to control it. Yeah. Because the thing is that, yes, you can do it and you have to be able to do it. Man, and I hurt my back once. I hurt my back, many times, right after your hernia disc. I had four knee surgeries.
Oh, no shit.
Man, I've been
life,
It's part of the lifestyle. I hurt my back and my wife was washing the dishes. And then she says, she calls me and says, "Hey, baby, look. The guy just jumped the fence on the back door, on the back houses, right?" And I come up and I'm walking oh crap, what do I do now, man? I can't fight this guy now. Do I go grab my gun?
Yeah.
No, I'm not grabbing my gun, man. I'm not grabbing my gun. This place is smart, Yeah. Okay, call the cops. They tell only thing I could do was lock my doors, hoping for this guy not to come in, because that moment was the worst moment of my life, where I felt like I actually couldn't defend myself or my wife. So, man, being able to walk on the streets and I love my wife, man. I think she's beautiful, and I know she's beautiful, inside and out. And another guy come by beside me and look at her. That's not going to make me want to fight that guy, man. He could even say something, man. Did he touch her? Did he do anything wrong to her? No. Let's keep on walking, man. Choose and choose and fight the good fight, man. If somebody puts their hands on her, it's a different story. Man. It's a different story. But if somebody looks at her, man, great, man. But guess what? She's my girl, you know, and that nothing changes. But having that feeling that you can do something, 100%, man. It's great. It's great,
So we were talking a little bit too, for your height. I'm 5'8" on a good day, right? Being the small guy, I've always been the small guy in the group.
I'm always the small guy too.
So you already know where I'm going with this. Why people got to pick on the small guy, bro?
Well, because we look like the easy target.
Yeah, it's man, like really, like I've had friends who are bouncers. I'll go say what's up. Like I'm not a big party, but I'll go say hi to them. They're people I train with, and people would try to pick a fight with me. And they're just like, do it. I'm like, no, man. And the bouncer come over, talk to them, bring over, and the guy would come back. Sorry, man, I didn't know. I'm like, it's all good, bro. Like I don't know why you have to be picking on people, but maybe next time the next guy's not gonna be as nice as me. Right.
For me, it happens all the time, man. It happened to me when growing up in Guatemala.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Guatemala is, I'm not going to say exactly like Thailand, but it's a third world country.
Yeah.
That we, I mean, back in the day, right? And there was a moment where I couldn't anymore, but there was a moment where you actually fixed everything with another guy. You don't want to fight, let's fight. And I would be sitting down and somebody would come in, I want to fight you. Like, dude, why me? What did I do?
It's you're like,
you come on, let's go.
You're looking at me right now.
Man. And because, I was acknowledging the guy coming with a little threat, maybe, you're fighting, you acknowledge, man, this guy pointing me with his right hand, with his left hand,
Yeah.
what leg is behind? Okay, let me, you know what I mean? So all those things has happened, man. And in training, it has happened, like it's just so crazy. It's so crazy. I have students in my school that are, I mean, everybody's taller than me already, right? Mm-hmm. But it's beautiful because then they see you moving, they see you doing stuff, and you go, oh, wow. But you walk on the streets and people do see me in a different way. I feel like they see me and they see my son, who's like 16-year-old. He's like, like a little bit, he's a stud, right?
A little bit taller?
Yeah, he's a little bit taller, yeah. My other son, the oldest son, is a little bit taller.
But I look very athletic looking.
Yeah, they look athletic, and I'm the little one. I said, like, why don't you pick on them, man, not me? They probably give you a better fight,
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, having that confidence to walk around on the street, and it doesn't matter, man.
No.
5'6", yeah, man. 5'6", 5'7", a good day, maybe,
Yeah.
I'm okay. If it goes down, it goes down. It's not going to be an easy fight. You may beat me, but it's not going to be easy, man. And I'm going to leave a mark. I'm going to leave a mark, You're
going to remember me.
Yeah, you're going to remember me for sure.
Yeah, this is the beauty of martial arts, too. It's one of the reasons I guess in Arizona, state of Arizona, I guess more people train martial arts here than like any other state, too.
I heard my son is in college, and he was doing a research on the amount of schools in the vicinity in a certain diameter. Yeah. There was 67 martial arts schools around, and I don't know how many miles around our neighborhood where our school is at. And I remember coming 23 years ago, me being the only school in the valley, like there was another school over here. They were like separated. Man, there's a jiu-jitsu school here. There's another jiu-jitsu school here. There's a karate school here. Like, dude, everywhere. The good thing is that the city has also grown.
Yes. So there's more population.
So there's business for everybody, but it is very popular. Yes.
Yeah. Because like we were talking, you're like, man, do you just come out here for podcast stuff? I'm like, no, man, this is one of the most active states for Muay Thai.
Wow.
And that's like, for me, I love it. And it's part of like the culture for the way that the state operates too. So like in the state code, Muay Thai is actually written in the state code for like rules and regulations. California doesn't have the word Muay Thai anywhere in their state code for the pro fighting.
And it's so big, right?
Yeah. So I'm like, why, right? But this is, that's another, I've had that conversation here. I don't want to blow it up too much, but that's one of the reasons why I like it so much out here. I've met so many amazing martial artists, you being one of them. And just seeing this kind of continue to grow and meet more people that have been here, and so many martial artists, it's like connections to Phoenix and Hawaii. Those are like the two big like areas. Of course, like people go through Southern California and stuff like that too. Yeah. But those are the two main areas that I've noticed where it comes into particularly combat sports. A lot of people, everybody comes through Phoenix. Everybody goes through Hawaii. At some point, they have some connection there. I have no idea why. Wow. Whether it's like I live there, I trained there, my wife's from there, I grew up there. Those are the two places that I've seen the most connection. And, seeing that come together, it makes sense that you're saying there's like 67 schools.
Just around.
Yeah. So that makes sense. So with your martial arts school, how can people find you guys?
So obviously, like the most common one through Google. Google, Ucelo Martial Arts Phoenix, and we're there, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. but I do feel that a lot of people come through word of mouth. You know,
Oh, yeah.
it's still a huge thing, and it has a huge value.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel that Google is maybe one of the best ways. Again, he probably found out that there were 6, 7 schools.
Yeah,
From
Google's information. Yeah, Google's information. So, like, if people want to come in and come check you guys out, is UceloMartialArtsPhoenix.com?
UceloMartialArtsPhoenix.com is our website. Yes.
Yeah, and
Ucelo Martial Arts Phoenix is how we are on Google.
well,
Everywhere. Yeah, in Instagram as well. Ucelo Martial Arts Phoenix there.
awesome. I'll make sure to put that down in the show notes for anybody as well. So anybody's listening, if you're watching or anything like that too.
Yeah, we love Muay Thai.
Yeah, obviously
I don't
your
say
son's
Muay
training.
Thai as a respect to the art, to the competitive art that it is. I do kickboxing. You know? Although there's stories about like how the word kickboxing was created.
Yeah, well, it came from a Japanese boxing promoter who was big into karate. Was going to Thailand. And he started bringing karate fighters to Thailand. Then he started bringing Thai trainers to Japan. It was this whole thing. It's pretty cool, actually. I've done a series on it.
It's super beautiful to see the similarities. And again, instead of being Muay Thai versus karate, it ends up being how amazingly close we are in thought. In we may differ on some techniques, although the principles are the same.
Given, yeah.
It's a 1-2 is still the same thing.
Yeah.
In karate as well. But in karate, when karate was created, it was created from a Chinese to Okinawa, and from Okinawa it was sent out to mainland Japan. They were going to do a huge festival, and when they were going to do the huge festival, they did not want it to be Okinawa because Okinawa is the island.
Mm-hmm.
So they came up with a name that could be owned by the Japanese, and that's how karate came out, the art of the empty hand.
Huh.
But it was originally from Okinawa with Chinese influence, and Muay Thai was from Thailand to Japan.
Well, I'm going to go a layer deeper because that's something I didn't know about. Oh. Like I knew that there were some deeper origins because I love martial arts. But Muay Thai, actually, there's arguments till this day. I'm sure there's some of this too with karate and stuff like that. But it's the Khmer Kingdom, it's Cambodia.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Where it goes back into that. And there's always, who's the origin of this art, right? And they're always kind of like talking, Kung Khmer is what they call it. It's better than Muay Thai. It's the original, right? And then the Thais, of course, are like, no, but we never got colonized. It's because of Muay Thai, so we're better. It's this big argument. And then you get people going, well, it actually came from India and this other martial art. And it gets really deep. And then you think about India and its relationship to China. And it's like, okay, so did that martial art in India come from China, right? Just like, went over to Japan, or did it go from India to China, had an evolution there and go like, it's all connected, man. It's all combat, and it's something that's inherently human, and we all have it in our DNA, whether we like it or not, right? Some people have this stigma with martial arts. I think everybody has to do it at some point in their life.
Everybody's a fighter.
Yeah.
You fight to get out of bed, man.
Yeah.
You fight to the traffic. You fight everything. And not having to be aggressive. I'm just saying we are born to fight. And some of us have the opportunity to maybe externalize it and make it an art, and make it look something beautiful into a combat part. But we all fight, man. There's people fighting mental situations that we never know. Everybody has their own demons, and they fight every day, man. And it's super respectable, know. And yes, we are. We were hunters. Just go back in time and see that. How did we eat? We had to hunt. We were a fighter. We had to go fight an animal. You had to go kill an animal. So it is true. It is true, and I feel that, like we're all fighters in a different way too. Yeah,
and some people don't. It's easy to get caught up in the everyday mix of life, the traffic, all that stuff, to forget where we actually came from, right?
Right, to ground yourself.
Yeah, man. It's what a time to be alive. I was going to say, thank you for coming in today.
Oh, Jonathan, thank you so much for having me. It is great. I was so excited to come because who you are and what you represent and how you represent your art. And it was super special for me to now even go even more with I was never worried, like, oh man, maybe he's gonna try to roast me on this one.
No,
but
man.
It was I really like what we had, man, and to understand how beautiful martial arts can be and how we can coexist together, and help each other out in different ways,
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to do some back and forth on the next karate versus Muay Thai card that Karate Combat does. So get this, just to close this, they're allowing elbows now in Karate Combat, and people are like, "Oh, you're making MMA." It's like, no, but not really, right? Because they still
karate has always trained elbow strikes as well.
Yes, I know, and that's where they were getting around. They came around. It was Lyoto Machida's brother, I think.
Shizu?
Yeah, he came out. I met him. He came by. He was in Santa Barbara. I'm like, you look familiar. He's like, oh, maybe you know my brother. I'm like, who's your brother? He's like, oh, Lyoto Machida. I'm like, oh, yeah, I know your brother. Yeah, of course I know who that is. But they had a video he was talking about. It's always been in there, right? Yeah. Elbows always been in there.
Spinning elbows, forward elbows, up, down, everything. It's always been there. And that's the beauty. When I train, I do the same thing.
You were doing this stuff, and people are not used to seeing it anymore because of the way it got commercialized. Yeah. Awesome, man. Thanks for coming,
brother. Thanks so much.